Okay, so we're going to do hypothyroidism and weight gain. And I'm Dr. Martin Rutherford. I'm a certified functional medicine practitioner. I'm also been in practice since 1979 as a chiropractor.
Dr. Reno, I'm a chiropractor as well as being a board certified chiropractic neurologist.
And together we work, we have melded our paradigms together in here at Power Health and have kind of developed a chronic pain practice. And that chronic pain practice includes several diagnoses such as fibromyalgia and peripheral neuropathy, chronic fatigue, and in treating these and many more chronic conditions, we noticed a lot of our patients losing a lot of weight who had come here who couldn't lose weight any other way. We started, and inadvertently, we have become somewhat conversant in thyroid matters, along with digestive bowel matters, along with autoimmune matters. So that's kind of how we got into the hypothyroid situation. So we see a lot of hypothyroid. Dr. Gates would like to share with you. Dr. Gates does frankly the pretty much all the treatment here these days at Power Health relative to these conditions, and he'd like to share with you some of the things that he has seen relative to hypothyroidism and weight loss.
Okay, yeah. So basically, if you have frank hypothyroidism, you're going to have a hard time losing weight if you're untreated. Many of the patients coming into our clinic are already on thyroid medication, but they still can't lose weight. And there are a number of variables as to why that's happening. In our experience, number one, typically there is some level of insulin resistance or prediabetes that is often going on. Early in your functional medicine career, I observed that you would look at thyroid cases and you'd see certain blood parameters, for example, go up, like cholesterol, things like triglycerides. The reason why is that as the body slows down, because the thyroid is low, metabolism slows down, and we can have a tendency to start getting more lipids in our system and a little tendency for more insulin resistance. But with that being said, we have seen that intense focus on this insulin resistance can really help a hypothyroid patient to lose weight. So it's kind of a connected but separate problem.
And if you're a hypothyroid patient listening to this and saying, well, I'm already taking the metabolic, I'm already taking metformin, or I'm already dealing with that and I'm not losing weight, listen. Yeah, because this is where this is going.
And this is the new data we've been talking about all year.
I've been dieting and I've been running and I've been eating right and I'm taking my medication and I still can't lose weight. Here's why.
And this is really becoming a huge passion for us in the center of our universe, because in the last year, 2013, 2014, a ton of data has come out as to why you're quote unquote eating right and you're quote unquote eating healthy and you're quote unquote eating organic and you're not losing weight. The reason is that there are these abnormal concentrations of bad bacteria in the gut. Pieces of them, not whole bacteria, pieces of them break off and go into our bloodstream. That causes inflammation. It actually doesn't allow insulin to bind to your cell to get sugar in your cells. And as a result, you make more insulin when you eat an apple, for example, and you're on this proverbial treadmill of not being able to lose weight because you make too much insulin whenever you eat carbohydrates. And it's really a bacterial issue in the gut. If you need any references, look at any of our broadcasts on relative to metabolic syndrome, prediabetes, weight loss. We talk about this extensively with tons of research articles. On and on and on. Also, the one thing I want to mention was the fecal transplant experiments. Those came out in the last year where they're taking bacteria out of people who are lean, putting them into patients who are not lean, and the obese individuals are losing weight just by transplanting bacteria. Very, very interesting stuff. So that's number one. And then for a hypothyroid patient,
however, those fecal transplants only work
as long as you keep eating the correct diet. If you go back to eating the standard American diet, processed carbohydrates, saturated fats, your bacterial culture in your gut will shift back to how it was, and the weight gain comes back on.
Yeah, we had a gal who came in yesterday for a consult who did that. We had one come in last week who was doing the antibiotics for their small intestinal bacterial overgrowth.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So these are two things. Small intestinal bacterial overgrowth is the term for the bacteria that Dr. Gates is talking about. So what we're starting to see now is people have heard about this. They go get the fecal implant. They go take the antibiotics for small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. They feel good. Then they don't.
Because they go back to eating the same thing
because they haven't changed anything.
Yeah.
They just did that. So those are temporary solutions. Not a cut. I'm just telling you, those are temporary solutions.
And then something we frequently see in our hypothyroid patients who come in on thyroid medication is functionally low T3 levels. So just know when you're taking a thyroid medication, it's inactive thyroid hormone. The endocrinology community in this country basically says and dictates that when you take inactive thyroid hormone, your body will convert it to active thyroid hormone. However, studies...
So inactive thyroid hormone is T4.
Is T4.
And active
levothyroxine and Synthroid.
Hormone is T3.
Yeah.
Sorry for interrupting. Some people might not know that.
Okay, that's good. And so basically, they're saying that your T4 is going to get converted into T3. But on our lab panels, and T3 is very rarely tested for in all the records that we look through, T3 is oftentimes at the bottom end of the range. So it's functionally low. You know, normal may be 71 to 180, and you're sitting at 73. And they're saying, well, you're normal. And even more interestingly, they've done a lot of studies on hypothyroid patients and weight gain, and they've shown that if you push the person who has hypothyroidism into hyperthyroidism on their laboratory ranges for their TSH and their T4, that gives them a better probability of losing weight. However, a lot of doctors won't do that because they're afraid of getting sued. Because if you get heart palpitations, you have to go to the ER and you have a $20,000 ER bill. You can sue your doctor for that.
Yeah.
We just did a whole hour-long thing on insurance companies and hospitals. But anyways, that's the skinny on that. So you really have to look at the T3 levels, because the T3 levels are really a representation of your active thyroid hormone, what your metabolism is doing. And a lot of that conversion, again, happens, guess where? In the gut, the gastrointestinal tract, and the liver primarily. And we frequently see that our patients' ability to convert their thyroid hormones improves going through our process of, for lack of a better term, detoxifying their gastrointestinal tract. And we're not talking about drinking a glass of olive oil to do that.
Or drinking aloe vera.
Right.
Well, that's more of a healing process.
And then the other facet of hypothyroidism and weight loss in our experience relates to hormones, sex hormones. And so we did a whole presentation last week on subclinical hypothyroidism. Unfortunately, Google's servers went down, so we're going to have to repeat it. But in that talk, we talked about the association between hormonal disorders and hypothyroidism, how many times they kind of go hand in hand. Upwards of 50% of patients who are female who have too much testosterone also have hypothyroid disorders. And in our experience, until you correct the insulin resistance, until you correct the thyroid conversion, until you correct the hormones, that individual has a very small probability of losing weight if they haven't already going through diet and exercise and things of that nature. So that's what I would say.
Probabilities are 0 and none. Well, they are.
Yeah, I know. If you've already gone on a diet and it hasn't come off, well, there are these other mechanisms dictating that you're not going to lose weight. And just know that fat becomes an organ unto itself. So it creates inflammation, almost controls your body. It causes you to eat more than you should because your brain doesn't know when you're full. It creates inflammation, as I said. It creates all these signaling mechanisms. It converts your hormones into the non-dominant hormones. So therefore, it just goes on.
Cause your body to not want to get rid of the fat cells because it's cleaning up the toxins.
Yeah, exactly.
It's it's an impossible battle for you to overcome by just exercising and cutting your calories.
Yeah.
And taking your thyroid medication.
So we wanted to do this just because we do a lot of topics. We've done a lot on thyroid. You can go to powerhealthtalk.com and look at the webcasts or broadcasts that we've done on hypothyroidism, Hashimoto's thyroiditis, subclinical hypothyroidism. We'll do it again next week. You can also go on YouTube and look at all the videos we've done there. We've done a lot on weight loss, fatigue, things of that nature. But hypothyroidism and weight gain is something we wanted to address just because so many of our patients come in, they're suffering with this. They're putting pressure on themselves to lose weight when they can't lose weight and their husband is telling them, oh, you just need to eat less, or, you need to go exercise more, and, you want to throw the Kleenex box maybe at your spouse because you are doing all those things. These are just stories we hear, not mean to create marital tension, but that's why we wanted to do this talk. And if you have any other questions, please send them to us at powerhealthtalk.com or our Facebook page. And did you have anything else you wanted to?
No, it pretty much covered thyroid, blood sugar, adrenals, and gut.
Yeah.
You can't lose weight. The answers are somewhere in there.
Yeah. Well, thank you for watching.
All right.
Yeah. We'll see you next time.